Just slowly start to take notice of your breath. Start to scan your body. Take notice of any areas of tension. And just invite your breath into those areas of resistance. And try to let it go. On your next inhale, slowly reach your arms overhead. Palms can be facing each other. And slowly start to stretch out from your fingertips to your toes, coming into a nice morning stretch. Starting to waken up the body. Hug both knees into your chest. Maybe rock side to side if that feels good. Clasp both hands on the outside of your right knee. Slowly lower your left leg down to the mat. If this does not feel comfortable for you, you have the option to bend your left leg, place your left foot on the mat. Clasp your hands behind your right hamstring, stretch your right foot up to the sky. You can point and flex your foot here. You can also rotate your ankle. And if you're rotating your ankle, go ahead and pause and then rotate in the opposite direction. And then pause in stillness and focus in on hugging your right leg towards your body. Really stretching out that right hamstring. Maybe staying here on the hamstring or walking your hands up to your calf. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And release your hands. Hug your right knee back into your chest. And place your right foot down on the mat or stretch it out long. Hug your left knee into your chest. Reach your hands behind your left hamstring and stretch your left foot up to the ceiling. Go ahead and point and flex your toes and your foot on the left side. You have the option to circle your foot in one direction and then pausing a moment, rotate in the opposite direction. And then pause in stillness, focusing in on hugging that left foot, left leg towards your chest. You can stay here on your hamstring or walk your hands up to your calf. Take 2 more slow, deep breaths here. And release your hands, hug your left knee into your chest. And place your left foot back down on the mat. Take a pause here and bring your hands down to your hips. They can be on the mat, just right beside your hips. Root down through the soles of your feet. Your knees are bent, knees are pointing towards the sky. Hands are by your hips. Just slowly. We're not going to come into a full bridge. We're going to come into about a half of a bridge. Lift your hips up slightly with your inhale and then drop them down with your exhale. Go ahead and move through this movement for 3 more breaths. So on the inhale, let's rise up, and on your exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, rise, come down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, come back down. Take your feet to the outside edges of your mat and lower your knees over to the right side. Come back to center. Drop your knees over to the left side. And come back to center. Walk your feet back into about hip distance apart. Extend your right leg high in the air and cross your ankle over your left knee. Bring your right hand to your right knee. Slowly push that right knee away. Take a few breaths here. Release your right hand down to the mat. Start to lift that left foot off the mat, bringing your legs towards your body. Clasp your hands behind your left hamstring. Settle into recline figure 4. You have the option to stay here, or you can bring your hands to the outside of your shin. We're here for 2 more slow, deep breaths. Release your hands and place both feet back on the mat. Extend your left foot high in the air. Cross your left ankle over your right knee. Place your left hand on your left knee and slowly push that left knee away from your body. Just applying a slight resistance to that knee. Release your left hand back down. Pick that right foot off the mat. Bring your legs in towards your chest. Clasp your hands behind your right hamstring or your right shin. Soften in to recline figure 4. Try to invite your breath to your left outer hip, releasing any tension you may be holding there. And release both feet down to the mat. Hug both knees into your chest. You can stay here in stillness or rock side to side, giving your spine a nice little massage. And make your way up to a seated position. Extend your arms out wide. Cross your right arm over your chest towards your left hand. Hook your left hand under your right arm. Hug that arm in towards your body. We're here for 2 more cycles of breath. And release your palms down to your knees. Grounding down through your sit bones, sit up nice and tall. Extend your arms out to a T. Cross your left arm over towards the right side. Hook your right arm under your left. Hug your left arm in towards your body. Feel the stretch in your shoulder. Breathe into it. Take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, release your hands down to your knees. Place your palms down on the mat. Roll over onto your knees. Come into tabletop. Check in with your alignment. Make sure your wrists are in line with your shoulders. Knees are in line with your hips. Fingers are spread out wide. Going to come into a few cat-cows here. So on your inhale, tilt your pelvis up. Lift your heart. Drop your belly. Gaze comes up. And on your exhale, draw your belly button into your chest. Curl your spine. Gaze comes in towards your belly button. And come back into cow on your inhale. And on your exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, pull your belly button into your spine. Cat. And come back to a neutral position, neutral spine. Place your right foot between your palms. Tuck your left toes under, lift your left knee off the mat. Wiggle your left foot back. Drop your left knee down and untuck your toes. Gaze over your left shoulder. Check in with that back foot. Make sure it's pointed nice and straight towards the back of your mat, that it's not sickling in. Root down through your right foot. Slowly lift your arms overhead, come into crescent lunge. Pull your belly in and up. Shoulders melt away from your ears. Stay here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Lower your palms back down to frame your front foot. Slowly sink your hips back, come into runner stretch. Your right toes can come off the mat slightly if you need to, or they can stay rooted down. Head tucks in towards your chest. And bend into your right knee. Place your left hand down on the mat. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Roll your shoulder back. Option to keep your right hand here on your wrist or your waist, or extend your right arm overhead. Gaze over your right fingertips. Stay with me for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Lower your right hand back down to the mat. Place your right knee next to your left, come back to tabletop. Place your left foot between your palms. Tuck your right toes under, lift your right knee off the mat, walk that right foot back. Lower your right knee, untuck your toes. Gaze over your right shoulder, just check in with your foot, make sure it's not sickling in. You can take your left thumb, place it in your hip crease, just make sure your hips are square. You can slowly pull that left hip back slightly. Bring your hands back down to the mat. Firm up through your feet. Lift your arms up overhead. Shoulders are away from your ears, belly's in and up. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And lower your hands back down to frame your front foot. Slowly start to sink your hips back, straighten your left leg, bow over your left leg, coming into runner stretch. Try to breathe into your left hamstring, inviting your breath to soften any resistance. Bend into your left knee. Keep your right hand rooted down on the mat. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Roll your shoulder back. Extend your left arm overhead. Option to keep your left hand on your hip. Stay here for a few slow, deep breaths. Enjoying this twist. And lower your left hand back down to the mat. Place your left knee next to your right. Root down through your palms. Make sure your hands are shoulder width apart. Pointer fingers are pointing towards the top of your mat. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. Come into down dog. Settle in here. Maybe you like to pedal your feet or play around here a bit with lifting your heels or sinking them down. You have 2 more slow, deep breaths to explore. Lift your right leg high in the air. Go ahead and bring your right heel to the left buttocks, opening your right hip. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed between your palms. Straighten your right leg. Thread it through for low lunge. Pause in here. Bend your left knee. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Bow forward. Inhale, hands to shins, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Pause here. Extend both arms overhead. Make sure your feet are hip width apart. Arms are overhead. Your right hand grabs your left wrist. Slowly start to lean over towards the right side, stretching out through your left side. Breathe into it. Your gaze can stay straight ahead, or you can turn your heart up towards the sky, gaze up over the left side. Beautiful. And come back to center. Release your wrists. Take your left hand, grab your right wrist, and slowly lean over towards the left side, stretching out through your right side body. Again, your gaze can be straight ahead, or you can slightly tilt your heart up towards the right side, gaze up over the right side. And come back to center. Release your hands back down. Bring your hands back to heart center. Pause here a moment. Lift your arms overhead. Swan dive forward. Inhale, hands to shins, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down, step your left foot back. Root down through your palms, step your right foot back. We're in plank. Engage your core and your quads. Pause here. With control, lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes. Hands come by your ribs. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and your elbows in towards each other. Lift your heart off the mat, come in to cobra. Tops of your feet are pushing down into the mat. And release down. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, push back to down dog. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. Lift your left leg high in the air. Bring your left heel towards your buttocks, opening your left hip. Checking in with your palms, checking in with your weight. Are you leaning more towards the right side? Can you try to even that out? Straighten your left leg, thread it through for a low lunge. Take a pause here. Slightly bend your right knee, step your right foot up to meet your left. Bow forward. Inhale, hands to shins, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Bring your big toes to touch. Leave a little space between your heels. Sink your hips down and back. Come into chair pose. Hands can stay here at heart center. You can extend them straight out in front of you or lift them overhead in line with your ears. Remember to keep your belly in and up. Stay with me for one more slow, deep breath. And bow forward. Inhale, hands to shins, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down, step your right foot back. Take a pause, and then step your left foot back. Engage your core, engage your quads, and lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes, place your hands by your ribs, elbows pull in towards each other, heart lifts off the mat, coming into cobra. Lower all the way down. Plant your palms under your shoulders, tuck your toes, push back to down dog. Take a pause here. Lift your right leg high in the air. Exhale, thread it through for low lunge. Plant your feet down on the mat. Slowly lower your left heel. Your back foot should be about 45-degree angle. Rooting down through your feet. Slowly rise up to warrior one. Check in with your feet. If this feels uncomfortable, just separate your feet out wider, bringing them out towards hip distance or maybe even a little further. Stay with me for 2 more slow, deep breaths. And when using your core, we're going to sweep our arms back behind us to airplane wings, bringing our chest towards our right thigh. Take a pause here. And then lift your arms back overhead. And one more time, sweep your arms back to airplane wings, lower your chest down towards your right thigh. And sweep your arms back overhead. Lower your hands back down to frame your front foot. Spin off your back heel. Plant your palms, step back to down dog. Lift your left leg high in the air. Thread it through for low lunge. Root down through the soles of your feet. Slowly anchor that right heel down. Remember to spin your back foot to 45 degrees. And rooting down, use the strength of your legs to lift your arms overhead, coming into warrior one. Pause here. Sweep your arms behind you to airplane wings. Lower your chest down to your left thigh. Pausing here. Sweep your arms overhead. Coming back to warrior one. One more time, sweep your arms behind you, bring them to airplane wings, lowering your chest. And extend your arms back overhead. Lower your hands back down to frame your front foot. Spin off your back heel, step back to down dog. Extend your right leg high in the air. Thread it through for low lunge. Root down through your feet. Slowly reach your arms overhead, come into high lunge. Pause here. Anchor your left heel down. Spin your arms to parallel to the mat. Sink into your right knee, come into warrior two. Flip your front palm. Reach your right arm overhead, reverse your warrior. Check in with your breath here. And then bring your arms back to warrior two. Slowly start to straighten your right leg. Hinge at your hips. Bring your right hand to your shin, the mat, or a block. Reach your left arm overhead. Stack your shoulders. Gaze up over your left thumb. Stay with me for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Bend your right knee, using the strength of your legs. Lift back up to warrior two. Windmill your hands back down to frame your front foot. Spin off your back heel. Plant your palms, step back to down dog. Push forward to plank. You can drop your knees if you need to, or you can slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes, plant your palms by your rib cage. Shoulders and elbows squeeze in towards each other. Lift your heart off the mat, come into cobra. Lower down, plant your palms, tuck your toes, lift up and back, come into down dog. And pause here. Extend your left leg high in the air. Exhale, thread it through for low lunge. Ground down through your feet. Lift your arms overhead, come into high lunge. Pull your belly in and up. Anchor your left heel, spin your arms open, come into warrior two. Sinking into that left knee, your left knee should track towards your left little toe. Flip your left palm, extend your left arm overhead, reverse your warrior. Breathe into the stretch in your left side body. Slowly bring your arms back to warrior two. Straighten your left leg. Hinge at your hips. Lower your left hand to your shin, the mat or a block. Right arm extends overhead. Stack your shoulders. Settle into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Stay here for a few slow, deep breaths. Bend your left knee, pushing down into the mat with your feet. Rise up to warrior two. Gaze over your left fingers. Windmill your hands back down to frame your front foot. Spin off your back heel. Step back to down dog. Take a pause here. And you can step or float to the top of your mat. So if you're stepping, just step one foot, then the other up to the top of your mat and bow forward. Inhale, hands to shins, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, circle sweep, arms to sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Rooting down through your left foot. Slowly bring your right knee in towards your chest. You have the option to keep your right knee bent. You also can reach your peace fingers around your right toe and extend your right leg out in front of you. Also, you have the option in either this position or if your knee is bent to bring your leg out to the right side. Go with whatever is calling you today. So maybe you want to bring that right knee out to the side. Maybe you want to just stay here. We're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. And lower your right foot back down to the mat. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Pause at the top, bring your palms together, Bring your gaze up over your fingertips. Take a mini back bend here. And bring your hands back to heart center. And lower your hands down to mountain. Root down through your right foot. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. You have the option again to stay here or take your peace fingers, wrap them around your left toe. Hand can stay at your hip. Extend your left leg out in front of you. Option to bring that left leg out to the side, or you can bring your knee out to the side, whatever's calling you today. Wherever you are, we're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Release your foot back down to the mat. Lift your arms overhead. Palms touch overhead. Gaze comes up over your fingers. Take a mini back bend here. And bring your palms back to center. Release your hands. Just take a moment here. Inhale, lift your arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, hands to shins, spine long, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back to down dog. Take a big inhale here. And exhale, lower your knees back down to the mat. Coming back into tabletop. Extend your right leg behind you. Toes can be curled under on the mat. Slowly walk that right foot over towards the left side of your mat. Gaze over your right heel. Stay here for a few slow, deep breaths. Untuck your right toes so your foot is down on the mat, pointing towards the left side. Slowly, using like a sliding motion, slide that right foot back and come over your left leg. We're coming into a variation of pigeon. You can bring your elbows down to the mat, make a little pillow for your head if you'd like. Maybe you even want to stack one fist on top of the other, placing your forehead on your little pillow. Taking a moment to tune in with your breath, with any sensations that are arising in your body. Check in, see what your body is trying to tell you. Notice if you're holding tension. And try to invite your breath to let that go. We're here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Plant your palms down, rise up, place your right knee next to your left. Bring your knees out wide, big toes together, sink your hips down and back, come into child's pose. Take a few slow, deep breaths here, relaxing your hips down towards your heels. Extend your right arm overhead. Thread your right arm under your body. Lower your right ear to the mat. Gaze over your right fingertips. Take a few slow breaths here. Focusing in on the stretch in your shoulder, in your upper arm, and softening in. Inhale, extend your right arm out in front of you. Lower your forehead down to the mat. Take a pause here. And then slowly come back up to tabletop. Extend your left leg behind you. Toes tucked under on the mat. Walk your left foot over towards the right side of your mat. Gaze over your left heel. Untuck your left toes, placing the top of your foot on the mat. Slowly sink that left foot back, coming onto your right leg. Make a nice pillow with your hands for your head and lower down, coming into pigeon variation. Soften in here. Remember to scan your body. Try to release any areas of tension you're holding on to. Just bring your awareness to anything that's coming up here. Our hips hold so many emotions that we sometimes keep hidden or buried. So just, be open to what might come up here for you. And just try to accept it for what it is. Using your breath to let anything go. Stay with me here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Plant your palms and slowly make your way back to tabletop. Bring your knees out wide, big toes together, sink your hips down and back, come into child's pose. Focus in on letting your hips sink down towards your heels. Extend your left arm overhead. Thread your left arm under your body. Lower your left cheek or ear down to the mat. Gaze over your left fingertips. And release your left hand, place it back next to your right, and sink back to child pose. And slowly come back up to tabletop. Walk your hands out in front of you. Sink your chin or forehead down to the mat. Come into puppy dog pose. And lower back up, or rise back up to tabletop. Cross your shins, sink your hips back, come into a seated position. Root down through your sits bones. Sit up nice and tall. Shoulders roll back. Lengthen through the spine. Place your left palm on your right knee. Take your right hand. Your palm is facing towards the left side. With a controlled motion, we're going to lift our right arm overhead and drop it down behind us, flipping our palm down, lowering it on the mat. Gaze over your right shoulder. On your inhale, lengthen through the spine. And on your exhale, try to see if you can twist in a little deeper. And come back to center. Lengthen through your spine. Maybe take your shoulders up and roll them over your ears before bringing them down your back. Place your right palm on your left knee. Take your left hand. Remember that your left palm is going to face towards the right side. With a controlled motion, we're going to lift that left arm overhead. Our palm flips down, lowers down to the mat. Lengthen through your spine. And exhale, twist and bring your gaze over your left shoulder. And come back to center. Place the soles of your feet down on the mat and lower all the way down to a supine position. Bring your arms out to a T. Sink your knees over towards the left side of your mat. Gaze over your right fingertips. Take a few slow, deep breaths here. And lift your knees back to center. Lower your knees over towards the right side of your mat. Gaze over your left fingers. And bring your knees back to center. Hug both knees into your chest. At this time, I want you to start to think about what inversion you would like to take today to complete your practice. You have many options. A few of those options include legs up the wall. You could come into plow or shoulder stand, headstand, handstand, you name it. This is your practice. Go ahead and set up for whatever is calling you today. If you want to go the restorative route, you could place your legs up a wall or place a block under your sacrum when you do legs up the wall. So whatever you're going to do, get into that position. You have 3 more slow, deep breaths here. And make your way out of whatever inversion you're in. Hug your knees into your chest. Maybe you want to rock side to side here. Maybe you want to reach around and grab for the outside edges of your feet, your ankles, or your hamstrings and come into happy baby. And hug both knees into your chest. And make your way into Shavasana. Maybe you want to grab a bolster for under your knees. Maybe today you feel like doing legs up the wall. Whatever's calling you, go ahead and get yourself settled in. And close your eyes, focusing in on your breath, on your body. Maybe feeling the echo of any of the movement we just did coursing through your body, becoming aware of any sensations you're feeling, letting go of any distractions or thoughts, melting into the mat. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Invite some movement into your fingers and your toes. And then move in whatever way you feel like moving now. When you're ready, roll over onto your right side. Maybe taking a chance to take a few more restful breaths here. And make your way up to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. Bring your thumbs to your third eye, or the space between your eyebrows. May your thoughts be peaceful. Bring your thumbs to your lips. May your words be peaceful and kind. Bring your hands to heart center. May your days be peaceful and happy. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. the light in me sees and honors the light in each one of you. Namaste.